Hello, YouTube. I went camping last night with my neighbors, and that was just amazing. It was really, really nice. It was at Kirby Cove Campground which is in Marin. It was just exceptional. Yeah, I swam in the bay both in the evening and the next morning. And yeah, it was really nice to remember how amazing just jumping in the ocean is. And honestly, if I can do that every day, I think I'll be so much happier. I also just realized the importance of nature and exercise again, and I keep forgetting just how important it is and how I really need to make it a point to do it. And I think biking could be a great way to do that, right? Like within an hour and a half, I think I can bike past a bridge and get back, um, which would be really good. Okay, I'm just picking a question to do right now. Let's do a linked list question. Why not? Okay. I mean, how likely is it that they'll ask me a linked list question? Let's do a backtracking question instead. It's a little bit more involved. Which one should I do? Do palindrome partitioning. This is hard. Great. So I guess I'll restart my timer. Great. Cool. So I'll expect that this should take less than 30 minutes. It should be good. I'll definitely cap it to that. If I don't make enough progress in 15 minutes, I think I'll look at the answer. And yeah, I think let's see how it goes. But I would anticipate around 5 to 7 minutes looking at the question, 5 to 7 minutes coming up with a plan, and then 5 to 7 minutes implementing it. And realistically, that might all be twice as much, so 5 to 10 minutes for each of those steps. Cool. Great. So given a string S, split S into substrings where every substring is a palindrome. Return all possible lists of palindromic substrings. You may return the solution in any order. So given AAB, I want to return AAB and AAB. Interesting. Okay. Every substring is a palindrome. I'm forgetting what a palindrome is. I think that's fair to look it up. A word, phrase, or sequence that reads the same backward as forward. Okay, great. Okay, so given a string S, split S into substrings where every substring is a palindrome. Okay. So by default here, I mean, one will always be just all the letters because every letter is a palindrome in and of itself. And you're not going to know if something is a palindrome up front. So I mean, brute force would be you just compute every possible set, right? So you're saying that if it's AAB, then so let me start writing here. So if it's some long letter, we could say, okay, we start with A is a palindrome. so then recurse on rest, and AA is a palindrome, so recurse on rest. And so we have all these different branches running at the same time. And then you'll have AAB, not a palindrome, so don't recurse on rest, but keep going. And then AABA, right. And then in this, when we're recursing on the rest, so this would give us one solution. I mean, the runtime of this would be O of n factorial, I think, because we look for each n, we're looking a maximum of, I mean, it keeps breaking up. So 7, and then you have 6. So once you have 1, and then for the 6, it's again you run that whole computation, but you would keep doing that. And so, okay. And so there would be a fair bit of duplicate work here. Yeah, there would be a fair bit of duplicate work. And so we could make that faster by storing it. So if we don't do duplicate work and we assume every substring's palindrome is only computed once, then, so for one element, we'd have yeah, that would just be one iteration. For 2 elements, it would be 2 plus 1. For 3 iterations, it would be, so 3 plus 2 plus 1, right? 2. The time complexity is challenging here, and I'm having a hard time figuring that out right now. So that's great. I need to revise time factorial. So let me make a note of that. Revise time and space complexity for factorial. For backtracking questions. Great. It's really hot. It's really hot today. Okay. And so if there's k digits here, we would take 1 and then recurse on the rest. In the worst case, how many possible palindromes are there? Starting with this this letter. And so, right, because if it's all A's, that would be the worst. If it's all of the same letter, which means you'd have 1, and then there's every possible combination. And so 1 times 6. So 1, 6, 2, 5, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 possible for the first set, but you have to recurse on all the rest, which means for each of those, you have a maximum of 7 on the other end, which means you have to keep recursing 7 times. And so it would be 7 multiplied by no, 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of hitting a wall there. So okay, let me just move on to implementation, at least to make some progress. So I mean, so yeah, by default, you just keep moving, and then in the recursive case, you keep doing it too. Now, you could optimize that further, but I don't know if that's necessarily the best way to go. So backtracking solution. Take the first character, recurse on the rest, then try the next character, recurse on if palindrome, recurse on rest. And to check whether it's a palindrome, we'd have to go through the whole string again, which we can just do for now. Cool. So is palindrome and so what's the best way to check if something is a palindrome? I think one way is to start from the front and the back and keep moving towards the center. I'm trying to think if there's another way. You could just keep moving forward and then check n-1. Yeah, so instead of keeping 2 indices there, you just keep 1, which seems a little bit better. So let's take the example of Great. And then for odd, your length is going to be 3. That's going to be 2. We also need to check the second. Yeah, so 1.52, and then what would happen is when I is equal to 1, you'll be checking the same digit, which should be great. Which would always work. So we can just do a floor too, because 1, 3, yeah, and then you just leave out the middle digit. That's cleaner. Cool. And so now we want to be looking at, let's make a little recursive function. You have the result, that's an array. And so in this recursive function, we're going to need the index that we're currently on. And it might just be easier to deal with strings instead of indices. Yeah, I think it'd be easier just to deal with strings, at least for now. And so this will take in, but we might need to recurse with an existing array too. So generally, there's kind of the array that's built up so far, which we want to slice each time we're passing it forward. And so we have the array that's built up so far, and then we have the string, the remaining string. And what else do we need? That's pretty much it, I think. So if the string is empty, then we can basically append the array we built up so far into the results. If we have an array built up and we have a bit of a string left, then we'll essentially need to go through that entire string And for each of those elements, if we're slicing from 0 through I, then, and I think slice is exclusive, so we might want to go up until string.length. Let me just confirm that. Yeah, it's exclusive. So if this is a palindrome, then we basically want to, and this will be like a recursive thing. So I don't think we need to necessarily, I think when we reach the end, we can slice the array that we put in, but before that, we can just, give me a second. I'm just gonna take a minute to do some personal journaling work here that I think is important. Okay, great. Great. Okay. Okay, so when I have the substring, I push that to the array, and then I essentially recurse with the array, and yeah, so So we recurse from the start. Let me just check that that actually works the way I want it. Okay, great. And so and then we just want to pop that element out. Great. Cool. And that's broadly it seems. If that whole thing is a palindrome, you just recurse on the last. Great. It seems good. And what we want to do at the start is it effectively you want to call recurse with an empty array, and then the string is the entire string, essentially. Cool. Let's try this. I find it hard to explain these things, honestly. This dot is palindrome. I see. So this in this function is not bound. And so I think an arrow function binds the this. So let's try that. Okay, that works. But yeah, I mean, so the code was easy. It's just really hard to talk about this stuff. See how he talks about it. I think I'd honestly be interested to see how he talks about it and also how he solves it. This would be great. How he talks about the time complexity is also challenging. Great. But that was it for this stream. I feel it was very unsatisfying. I didn't feel a lot of, I guess, mastery while doing this. Cool. Yeah. So let me spend some time revising this problem and then move forward. Cool. Let me end with a positive quote or something that I read. I think the Mary Oliver poem Wild Geese, which my research mentor referenced again, is something I really like. And it starts out with, you do not have to be good. You just have to let your soft soul kind of do whatever it would naturally do. And that the world will accept you for who you are and how you are, and you will find your place in the you'll find your place in this world, just like the geese find their place in the world, in the poem. So cool. I'll end on that. Thanks for watching if you did, and I'll see you here for the next video very soon.